Hello everyone, welcome to Everything Arsenal. This is your latest transfer news and your latest news updates. Let's get straight into it. Let's start with very huge news, man. Thomas Partey. Thomas Partey is back in training. He's been training. We expect him to be back for the Nottingham Forest game on Tuesday. So right away, I have a question for you guys. Would you start him against Nottingham Forest on Tuesday night, or would you keep him basically fit until, or keep him on the side until we face Liverpool that very weekend? So we are playing Nottingham away and then Liverpool at home a few days later. What did you do? Start Partey in that game, or bring him off the bench, or just leave him out of that game completely and play him against Liverpool? Let me know. But we've played around 21 Premier League games this season, and Partey has only played in 4 of them. And in one of them, he obviously came off the bench against Man City for like 15 minutes. And then at the beginning of the season, he played 90, and 55 minutes. But for the rest of the games, he's missed 17 in total. So we've pretty much not had Partey this entire season. It looked like he was coming back. When he came off the bench against Man City, we thought he was going to be back. And then he only played 50 minutes, and then he's been gone since then. So this is a huge return. The midfield that everyone has been hoping to see. I think we saw it once in the Community Shield or in the Emirates Cup or something. Partey, Odegaard, and Rice. Everyone has been waiting to see that. We thought you were going to see it at the beginning of the season, but Partey was playing as a right back and then obviously got injured and we never really got to see it. But Partey coming back into this team, it's almost like a new signing. Now, could he get injured again? Obviously, there's a huge chance that Partey could get injured again anytime. But the thing is, last season and the previous seasons, he was literally playing every single day. In midfield, we had to play him every single day. By that time, we did not have Declan Rice. We did not have players like Jorginho. So Partey had to play for us every single day. Or if he was not there, we had to play Jacques in that position or play Mohamed Elneny in that position. And even him, he was injured for a long time. But this time around, we have Declan Rice, we have Jorginho. So you can play Partey for one game, and in the next game, you start Rice there. You can play Partey today, and you play Jorginho the next day. Or you play Partey for a certain period of the game, and then you bring him off, and then you bring on whoever is on the bench, Jorginho, Elneny, whoever is on the bench. So this is a huge boost, almost like a new signing. Personally, what should I do? I know the match fitness is probably lacking, so I'd maybe bring him on for 15 minutes against Nottingham Forest. The 15 minutes kind of haunts me because he came on for 15 minutes against Man City. We've never seen him again since. So the last 15 to 20 minutes, you bring him on and then you play him against Liverpool. I really want to see Partey, Rice, and Odegaard in that Liverpool game, in that midfield, because we'll talk about Tomiyasu later. I'd love to have at least one of them in that game, Tomiyasu or Partey, and it's more likely Partey because Tomiyasu is still in a competition right now. So that is the latest on Thomas Partey. He should be back for the Nottingham Forest game. He's back in training. Absolutely huge news for us. Big news. I mean, people have been making it look like Arsenal don't have any injured players. We do. Maybe not as many as Newcastle or Chelsea, all those guys. I know Man City have been missing Haaland and De Bruyne, are probably 2 of the best players in the league. But we've also been missing Tomiyasu, we've been missing Partey, we've been missing Timber. I know we've missed Zinchenko for a few games, we've missed Jesus for a month or 2, we've missed Martinelli for a full month, we missed Saka for the Man City game. There's a lot of players we've also missed this season, so it's not only all the other teams. Every single Premier League team has been affected, and we're also part of that. It's not like we've not really had any injuries. We've definitely had injuries, and this one is a huge return. So that's the latest on Thomas Partey. Let's get to the latest transfer news. We're still looking for a striker. We're still hoping we get a striker. It's looking less likely and likely. Especially when you see this, just look at this. The amount of money that Premier League teams have spent compared to last January. Last January, teams spent £780 million in January. This season, teams have only spent 34.6 million. Now, why is that? Probably because everyone is scared to, mess up with the FFP regulations, and people don't want to be, find themselves in situations where they'll have to be deducted points, 10 points, 15 points. People don't want that. So people are being very careful in terms of signing players. There's probably going to be a lot of loan deals at the end. I wouldn't be surprised if that figure got to at least 80 or 90 million by the end of the January transfer window, maybe even 100, because teams usually get to buy players the last 2 days, especially after making sales. Teams could buy players. But you're worried about Arsenal. Will we buy players? Now, every striker we know, Ivan Toney, Osimhen, those players are impossible. They're very, very expensive, and you're not going to sign them this January. The only possibility was maybe getting Ivan Toney on loan, but there's no reason for Brentford to loan him out because they've not been doing well. And Ivan Toney just come back and they've won the very first game. He scored in that game as well. They literally do not have any reason to sell him. We have to look for alternatives. And today, a new striker has popped up, Callum Wilson. That would be crazy. According to reports, Manchester United, Arsenal, and Chelsea have been alerted to the availability of Callum Wilson, who is on the market for 18 million. This is according to Nizak and Seller. Now, for Man United, I'm hearing because of the new director and all that, they're not looking to go that direction of getting 30 plus 30-year-olds. Like Callum Wilson is 31. They don't want to go into that direction. For Chelsea as well, I mean, they've been rejecting players. They even rejected signing Maddison because he's above 25 years of age. So Chelsea are also going into a different direction. So if you look at that, it's pretty much Arsenal in that list. And obviously, if Wilson is 100% available, I'd expect other teams to want Callum Wilson. Like he's a very, very, very good striker. So it wouldn't only be Arsenal. But for 18 million pounds, that is great. For a player who only who plays very little games and still scores a bunch of goals. He scores a lot of goals for a player who doesn't play in a lot of games. But why doesn't he play in a lot of games? That's the problem I have with him. Injuries. They basically have to sign. You're going to have to sign Callum Wilson for 18 million, and you're going to find you need to find like 1 million elsewhere for some new hamstrings for him, because over the last 5 years, I think he's had like 10 hamstring injuries. This season alone, he's had like 2 or 3 hamstring injuries. He's missed a lot of games. He's missed a lot of games this season. And that is a problem. That is a huge problem. Now, despite the injuries, he's been scoring goals. This season alone, he scored 7 Premier League goals in 14 games, which is a great return, a goal every 2 games. And last season, he scored 18 Premier League goals. So no doubting his finishing at all. In terms of finishing, he's really good, but you have to worry about the injuries and the age as well. How many games is he really going to play for you? If you sign Callum Wilson right now and you have the Champions League and you have the Premier League and all that, he's probably going to play for you like in 10 games because of the injuries, and that is a huge worry. But I do not doubt his ability. I do not doubt his finishing. I do not doubt like his pacing behind and all that and getting himself into right positions. He is very good. Since his Bournemouth days, I've always really admired him. The only problem is injuries, and same applies to players like Neto who've been linked to before. Injuries are a problem. If he was not like an injury-prone player, he'd have been going for like 30 million or something, or maybe even more. If he wasn't an injury-prone player, him and Isaac could probably have formed a very, very good partnership at Newcastle, and they've scored a lot of goals this season. They probably would have scored even more. That is how good he is. But the problem is the injuries. We already have an injured Jesus, like a player who regularly gets injured. So you don't want a situation where you get to February, you're playing FC Port in the second leg, maybe you're drawing and you're losing, and then boom, Wilson is out with an injury and Jesus is out with an injury as well. That would be a nightmare, because if you're looking for a player who's always injured as well, we might as well keep Jesus, because Jesus brings a lot to this team. But let's see how this one works out. Maybe if Wilson doesn't play on a regular basis, maybe doesn't get injured as often. But even if you look at the Newcastle record, though, the last 2 years, it's not like he's been playing every single day, but he still picks up injuries. So this is an interesting one. Let me know. Would you guys take Wilson? I still feel like for 18 million, that's not a bad price. I'd be willing to take that gamble, because nowadays you don't get strikers for 18 million, man. No chance. Like if you wanted Watkins, they probably tell you 80 million. Tony, 100 million. Osimhen, 150 million. If you wanted, I'm telling you, even if you wanted someone like a Jackson from Chelsea right now, they'd be shameless and tell you 50, 60 million. That's how crazy it would be. Like these days, the market is all over the place. If you want to sign players, you're going to really have to pay. Even his own teammate, Isaac, that's a player that Arsenal fans have always wanted. He would be like 60 or 70 million. So let's see how this one develops. But Callum Wilson is the latest link in terms of strikers. Last season, we were able to get Jorginho and Trossard very, very late on in the transfer window, and Kivia as well. And sometimes we usually wait for things to develop, because I don't think we were ever going to sign Trossard. He just popped up because he had a fallout with the manager and he was put in the transfer market, and he signed him literally the next day. So transfers like this or deals like this can happen very, very quickly. But let's wait and see. For the age, in terms of age, that's why I'm kind of thinking Man United and Chelsea won't get him. We also don't really go for this kind of players in terms of age, but considering we got someone like a Jorginho last January, who was above 30, maybe we could go for Wilson as well, even if it means a loan deal. I don't know. So let me know what you guys would do with Callum Wilson. Now, yesterday, we were linked to a player that we've been linked to before, a defender, a former Tottenham player. His name is Kyle Walker-Peters. Yeah, not the Kyle Walker we would have wanted, but Peters at the end. Team Talk sources have stated that Southampton's Kyle Walker-Peters is a name Arsenal fans need to keep an eye on over the next week. Now, it's no secret that Arsenal are looking for defenders. We'll talk about Tomiyasu and Zinchenko later on, mainly because, Tomiyasu is injured and right now is in the Asian Cup, and we all know Timber is out injured as well. They said he could be back February, March. Let's wait and see. Gabriel actually picked up an injury the last game. We're still not sure if he's going to play against Nottingham Forest. So things like that can happen. Gabriel can get injured anytime. Saliba can get suspended anytime, and then you're out of numbers. And Zinchenko is another player who's also injury prone. He can get injured anytime. So you really need to have backups there. And TNU, everyone has been screaming for him to be brought back. By the way, he got another injury yesterday. He's now out for, I think, 5 weeks or something. So TNU is not the answer. Tavares is probably not the answer as well. You're going to talk about him next as well. So Kyle Walker-Peters is the latest player to be linked to Arsenal. He plays for Southampton. He played in the league for a lot of years for Tottenham and also for Southampton before they were relegated. And he's mainly a right back. But that can also play as a left back. So let's keep an eye on this one. It's no secret that we are looking for a fullback, as we've been told over the past 2-3 weeks. We're definitely looking for a fullback. So let's see if Kyle Walker-Peters would be the one. But I would still expect us to sign at least one player this January transfer window. Let's see how that one develops. Speaking of fullbacks, as I said, what's the latest on Nuno Tavares? This is the latest on him. According to Charles Watts, talks ongoing between Arsenal and Marseille over Nuno Tavares. Marseille want to sign Tavares on a permanent deal. Arsenal and Tavares are open to that, but there is no break clause in the current loan deal with Forest, and they are not keen yet to letting him go. Complicated. So it's up to Nottingham Forest to decide whether they want to give us back our player, because the deal was probably to have him there for a year. So unless they literally do not want him and they bring him back to us, that's when you can offload him. But right now, I think they have a fullback called Aina, not Nottingham Forest, who's currently playing in the African Cup for Nigeria. They have a lot of players. Aurier, another fullback who's currently at AFCON as well. Somehow, Ivory Coast is still there. They have players in midfield like Kouyaté. They have a lot of players at AFCON, and mainly 2 fullbacks at AFCON as well. Maybe even more. Nottingham Forest have so many players. I'm telling you, we wouldn't know all of them. So Tavares, if we want to sell him, Nottingham Forest would have to agree to bring him back to Arsenal, send him back to Arsenal, so we can offload him to a different team. So let's wait and see how that one develops. But that would be good money, not like 50-60 million, but in terms of, even if you can get 10 to 12 million for him, just to 10 to 12 million, if you can add 10 million to that, you can get a player worth even 18 million, a player who can help you for 4 or 5 months. So players like Trossard and Jorginho aren't that expensive, but they're still helping us to these states. And Trossard was a very, very good buy. And I still think Jorginho is a good buy. Compared to every other player we've signed from Chelsea, I think Jorginho would maybe even rank top at the moment in terms of the players we've signed from Chelsea. I think he's doing his job whenever we need him. So let's see how that one goes for Tavares. But we definitely do need that money. But it's a complicated one, as Charles Watts says. We are still on the fullback thing. Let's talk about Tomiyasu a bit. So Japan have gone through to the round of 16 in the Asian Cup. They will be playing against Bahrain in the round of 16. Now, that will be played on the 31st. If they get knocked out, there's a chance Tomiyasu could be back for the weekend against Liverpool. So does anyone know I can get a Bahrain shot? I don't like wishing people, but like in their countries, all the best. If you go through well, then if you don't go through well, I'm an Arsenal supporter, not a Japan supporter. So if he's coming back to Arsenal to help us against Liverpool, great. We mainly need Tomiyasu in Liverpool games because of Salah, but Salah is also out. So if Tomiyasu is out for that game, it's not really the end of the world. But yeah, that's the latest on Tomiyasu. There's a chance he could be back if they get knocked out by Bahrain. But if they go through, he'll miss the Liverpool game as well after the Nottingham Forest game. So let's see what Tomiyasu and Japan do. But what has Zinchenko been saying? Zinchenko's been doing an interview recently, and this is what he's been saying about his season and how he's feeling. I'm definitely not the super happiest man on the planet, but I know there are some moments when you have ups and downs. I'm pretty sure that everything will be fine because I've been in this position a couple of times in my life, and I know how to behave on that. So I actually did a documentary on him on Everything Arsenal YouTube some time back, and yes, he's been through a lot in his life, like especially when he was playing like in Netherlands and stuff, like times where you feel like he's definitely not a good player and teams would want to offload him and all that. Personally, I do have a soft spot for Zinchenko. I feel like he gives us a lot. I didn't do a review for the last game, but he played really, really well against Crystal Palace. He was one of the best players for us, one of the better players, not the better players, one of the best players in that game alongside Gabriel and also Martinelli when he came on, and also Ben White. They were all really, really good in that game. Yes, I know he has defensive lapses like he did against Wolves this season, like he did against Liverpool. I was absolutely annoyed when he let Salah to his left foot. I was absolutely annoyed with that. The Wolves one would have kept a clean sheet, guaranteed clean sheet in that game if he didn't give away that ball. He does have those mistakes. Maybe it's unlucky because, Timber and Tomiyasu have not been there. Maybe Zinchenko would not have been playing in those games and we would have been playing in midfield. Who knows? But what I don't agree with other Arsenal fans is sell him today. No, that one I don't agree with. Or sell him today, bring back to him. That I also don't agree with because first of all, one of the reasons why we signed Zinchenko is because Tino's injury prone. So I know Zinchenko is also injury prone, but I feel like he gives us a lot in terms of going forward and controlling the game. If you have Zinchenko and Jorginho on the bench, let's say against FC Porto, and let's say we have we do a 2-1 lead from the first leg, and then we score fast in the second leg, and then we have like a 2-goal cushion. If you have Zinchenko and Jorginho on the bench, those are players you can bring on to control the game. They can control the game for you. Or if you want to defend the game, obviously you can go for Tomiyasu or someone like that. But if you just want to control the game, like we did against Crystal Palace early on in the season, in the second game of the season, Zinchenko can come on, Jorginho can come on, and they can control the game for you when you're down to 10 men and you can see that game out very easily. So in terms of that, it gives us a lot. In terms of control, in terms of the way we play, it gives us a lot. Yes, defensive calamities here and there, but I wouldn't like sell him today like some other people would. So he does feel that himself. He does feel like he's not like 100% enjoying himself right now because of various reasons. But since we've just talked about Tomiyasu and players like that, he's the one who's going to play against Nottingham Forest, and he's the one who's going to play against Liverpool. Whoever's going to be up against Jota, Diaz, whoever, Elliott, he's going to need to be in the top of his game, because the last time he played against Liverpool in the Premier League, it wasn't so good. So that's the latest on Zinchenko. Hopefully, whatever he's going through, however he's feeling in terms of form, he can improve, and he can help us between now at the end of the season. I really do genuinely believe him and Jesus really changed the mentality of this team last season. So that's the latest on Zinchenko. Just a few more. People would probably ask about Osimhen. I still don't think we're going to sign him this January, but according to Republica, Arsenal has joined the race to sign Victor Osimhen, with the Nigerian international almost certain to leave Serie A this summer. The Gunners will go head-to-head with Chelsea to try to land one of European football's hottest properties. So if you're watching the AFCON, I've watched all, I think, 2 Nigerian games. I mean, the one against, I think it was Equatorial Guinea, he scored, and I think against Ivory Coast, he got the penalty. He missed a lot of chances, that is the truth, but I still feel like he's one of the very, very good strikers. I still like the way he runs and gets into positions and all that. There's a lot of qualities a striker has to have. Obviously, the first one is finishing, but also, getting into position, how you're going to, get in the box, like the physicality, you head the ball. There's a lot of qualities you have to look at. But we are in the race with Chelsea. Who knows? If he actually ends up signing for Arsenal, even if it's in the summer, that would be a huge shock. Because in my head, I feel like Real Madrid could also want him, and they could easily get him because they don't really have an out-and-out striker right now apart from Joselu. What about Benzema? What's the latest on him? Arsenal are one of the clubs in talks with Benzema's entourage and Al Ittihad. Very, very... I've been thinking about this one a lot. As I said, if it means he doesn't take a pay cut, and it means like if you sign him, it will affect our transfer in the summer transfer, I wouldn't get him. But if it wouldn't affect our summer transfer window, and we're going to get Champions League money, and he's a player who can help even win the Champions League and the Premier League for 4 months, it doesn't really hurt. But that is if he's going to take a pay cut. But also this one, there's a huge chance that you might end up even staying at a late yard and sorting out whatever is going on. The latest on this, in terms of Arteta, Team Talk has been informed that Mikel Arteta is willing to wait until the summer to bring in the perfect forward at Arsenal. A more likely addition for this month would be a defender who has the ability to play all across the back four. So that's the latest we're hearing in terms of Team Talk, and what Arteta is planning to do. But you never say never, because things can happen. As I said, last season, Trossard just popped up and he ended up signing him. Things like that can pop up and they can be like, okay, we have an opportunity now, let's sign him. One of them is Callum Wilson that has just popped up. So let's see what happens. Let me know what you make about all that. Make sure to hit the like button as always. We are not playing this weekend, so we hope the players went to Dubai again. They didn't, but we should be going to Dubai again. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch up with you guys on the next one.